Welcome back, everybody. My name is Tucker, and today I want to talk about the Los Angeles Clippers, which isn't something I really imagined myself saying a year ago when they lost Chris Paul and traded Blake Griffin to effectively end the Lob City era. But there's a lot to talk about here. This past summer, when guys like Kawhi Leonard and Jimmy Butler were looking for a new place to play via trade, a lot of people were surprised to see the Clippers on the preferred list of each of those players. People crack jokes about how they're the Clippers, why would anyone want to play there? They're trash and can't make the conference finals and their team isn't any good anymore and all that garbage. But when you look at it objectively, the Los Angeles Clippers are a very real and very legitimate free agency destination in 2019 and moving forward. Possibly even more so than that other team in LA, if you can believe that. But how did they get here from a team that looked to be on the path of a full rebuild to being a top 3 destination for both Kawhi Leonard and Kevin Durant this summer, and possibly Anthony Davis in 2020? Let's go ahead and get started. Let's begin with this current version of the Clippers before I get into anything else. As of this video, they are right up at the top of the Western Conference standings to the surprise of many, but with the small amount of separation between the records at the top and bottom of the playoff picture in the West, they could very easily tumble down the standings with just one bad week. But that really isn't the point. The point is they've been better so far this season than most people expected, and that does come into play in free agency. For the Clippers specifically at least, maybe not so much for the traditional free agency powerhouses such as the Lakers, being good immediately prior to signing a big free agent is critical to adding validity to their chances, and this current team with a really solid and fun 9 to 10 man rotation is ideal when it comes to being a free agent destination because not only are they a good team, but potential stars can already see how they would fit in as the centerpiece. They're a solid team with good players that is simply lacking star power and top-end talent, and that brings a ton of validity to their candidacy as a free agency destination. And that, along with having a respected NBA head coach in Doc Rivers that's already won a championship with a star-laden team during his years in Boston, and an owner that is all in not only on creating a highly competitive team, but also in differentiating the Clippers' identity from the Lakers, all combined together is the first pillar that establishes them as a legit free agency destination. The second part is really what puts them in this position in the first place and ties almost everything else I'm going to talk about throughout the rest of the video together, and that is cap space. As of right now, the Clippers are on pace to have over $45 million in salary cap space in the summer of 2019, and if they can dump Avery Bradley's contract before then, that number could jump to over $60 million. There are other variations of this. They could try and get rid of Danilo Gallinari, Lou Williams's, and Bradley's deals all at once if they wanted to and found a trade partner, and that would open up 2 full max slots in 2019. But there are other things to consider, such as what to do with their many unrestricted 2019 free agents of their own, most notably Tobias Harris. But the point of all of that, as I move on to my next point, is that the Clippers have one of the most attractive things to potential free agents that are looking to build a team around them or create the next super team, and that is flexibility. If you're Kevin Durant or Kawhi or Jimmy Butler or insert any other notable max contract level free agent in 2019 or 2020, you can have whatever team you'd like with the Clippers if the front office agrees. Do you want to be the main guy and be surrounded with a high-end supporting cast such as Tobias Harris, Montrezl Harrell, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander? They can do that. Do you want to try and find another 2019 star to team up with and create the next star duo in LA? It would take some salary dumps, but they can do that too. Do you want to sign in 2019 or 2020 and wait to sign another big name in a future summer? Sure, that works too. Do you want to do literally any of the things that I just mentioned and then also flip picks and young players for a potential disgruntled star on the trade market in the future? Every single one of these things are on the table in free agency recruiting meetings for the LA Clippers. Compare that to the other most commonly mentioned options for free agents in 2019. The Knicks and especially the Nets have a similar level of flexibility, but don't currently have a group of players that could fit well around a star and that are also performing well from a team record standpoint this season the way that the Clippers do. And the Lakers, well, they're going to be LeBron's team if you go there, and being his sidekick doesn't sound like something that anyone's interested right now, which I'll talk about later, especially given how negative some of the reviews have been on that position in the past. And not only that, not only are the Clippers good right now, have a clear star void that needs filling, have a great coach and ownership and front office structure, and have all the cap and roster and asset flexibility in the world, but they also have really good young pieces. namely Tobias Harris if they keep him in whatever free agency direction they decide to go in, as well as in a rookie that I don't think we're really talking nearly enough about in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. To be fair, yes, he does have a better supporting cast around him than most rookies at the top of the draft, but he's playing starter minutes on a team that has been one of the best in the West to start this year, and to me, it isn't difficult to see him taking a path that leads him to eventually being an all-star, and with him still being on his rookie contract, they can build whatever version of a free agency or super team they want over the next few years, and then still keep SGA by just going over the cap if that's how it all works out. And that youth is something that I think is increasingly important to creating a dynasty in this super team era. Rajon Rondo's emergence helped keep the Celtics' Big Three era alive a bit longer than maybe it should have been, and the downfall of both the Heatles and second Cavs era for the LeBron-led teams and what caused him to leave was just that they were relying too much on older guys, and you could see it all kind of crumbling down at the end. In Miami, Dwayne Wade got old very quickly and LeBron saw it coming and left for Cleveland, and then there, Kyrie saw the same thing and wanted out, and then LeBron did as well. One of the main reasons Golden State has kept their dynasty alive for so long is that their core guys all hit their primes right around the same time. So having not only a present but also a future is a key part of building a successful and long-lasting super team, and if that is the goal of the Clippers, then check off another box in terms of being a legit free agency destination. And now to my last 2 points, and both of them are largely narrative-based. The first is essentially an argument for the Clippers and against the Lakers at the same time. For the first part, and this especially applies if they go the route of signing one big name, KD or Kawhi for example, and just building around them with a high-end supporting cast. And that is that it would be that player versus LeBron for the control of the city of LA every single night for the next handful of seasons. Even at this stage of his career, in his early 30s, LeBron is still the largely undisputed king and owns the title of the best basketball player in the world. So what better way to take that from him and establish yourself in that role instead if you're Kawhi or Kevin Durant than to beat him at his own free agency game with the Lakers while on the Clippers? I do recognize that one of the very few players in the league that actually thinks primarily through narratives historically is LeBron himself, but you can't deny that it is a tantalizing possibility in favor of joining the Clippers, and it works both ways as a disadvantage to joining LeBron and the Lakers. I've already talked about this in a video about Kevin Durant, but who has really shown a willingness to want to go and play with LeBron on the Lakers? Jimmy Butler and Kawhi Leonard were both in position recently to really push their way to LA via trade, and even though you could argue if their wishes would have actually been granted, by all reports, neither of them really jumped at the possibility. Then you have Paul George not even meeting with the Lakers this past summer when that was rumored to be his destination for years in favor of playing with Russell Westbrook, and all of that doesn't even mention Kyrie Irving wanting out of Cleveland and away from LeBron just a little over a year after winning a championship. It doesn't seem like anyone wants to be LeBron's sidekick if they have a choice, and in recent years, those people that have held that title haven't really endorsed it either. So why not join the Clippers instead and own the city of LA as the player and franchise that conquered LeBron's Lakers dreams rather than being the guy that joined him? And then lastly, in the narrative category, another thing that I've mentioned before, and it applies to other free agency destinations like the Knicks for example, there's a certain boost to a player's reputation that would be applied if they were the one or ones to bring the franchise to glory, and doubly so if that meant bringing the team a championship. We all know that historically the Clippers have simply been bad, and personally that was, along with the exciting style of play initially, one of the things that made the Lob City era Clipper teams so much fun. Seeing a franchise that had been so bad for so long finally experience real success was refreshing. And as weird as it is to think about a franchise being historically bad as a positive in terms of being a free agency destination, I do think it applies in this very specific case for the Clippers. And of course, and I can't believe I left this for the end of the video, it's LA. It's essentially the new center of the NBA with the amount of guys that live out there and spend time there and train there during the summer, not to mention the other very obvious perks of living in LA. And even though that isn't something that they've historically been able to capitalize on, the combination of all these other factors, along with it, makes them, as the title says, a legit NBA free agency destination. In the end, am I saying that the Clippers are 100% going to create the next great NBA super team via free agency this summer? No, of course not, although I do like their chances of landing KD, as I've already talked about. But what I am saying is that if you're an NBA fan that's just brushing them off as a possibility for KD or Kawhi or Anthony Davis in the future or whoever, don't be so fast to do so. These are different times for the Clippers and their shockingly fast recovery from the Lob City era, and just putting them in the back of the line in terms of free agency landing spots by saying, well, it's just the Clippers, they don't have a chance, isn't something that I would recommend, because to me, they're the best option for many of those big names, both this summer as well as in 2020. And that is going to be the end of today's video, and I thank you all very much for watching. Once again, my name is Tucker. If you missed any of my previous videos, then be sure to check out the boxes on screen. Thanks again, and I'll see you all next time.